Alright, welcome to Just Magic the Gathering. I was at a certain point looking to pick up on my draft. I haven't done any rebalancing. I was very much wondering about doing the add 2 lands and kicking out maybe like Shredder's Revenge. That puts me at 16 lands instead of 15 with a little more balance. I'm 11, 13, 16. I mentioned I'm not super happy with this deck, or it doesn't have enough big stuff and it doesn't have enough token generation or mutagen potential to actually get over that. I'll be curious how this holds up without having like the dual lands, or it's easy for this deck to get potentially mana stomped, and that's why I was wondering about adding those two manas. It does have a fair amount of like control or draw, so at this point I'm pretty happy with that. This only works for ninjas as opposed to mutants, ninjas, or turtles, because it's not going to make this mutant any stronger. It doesn't really work with a lot of what's in my deck. In a way, I probably shouldn't say, like, he mulliganed twice, I think. At this point, I could do the negate, depending on what he was looking to do here. At this point, he's playing black-green. I can just go for the card draw. I'll sneak it in for the 1. And I was questioning potentially keeping it for the negate, if he's not looking to play a creature here. I'm assuming he is, though. Tunnel Rats. So I can do the Tunnel Rats. I was actually wondering about doing the Tunnel Rats. I don't know if I should be keeping the mana for the negate. Gain 1 life. Because I have a couple options on. I can do like a Pain 101. Attacks are black. Sacrifice a permanent unless you discard a card. That's huge. So I, at this point, would very much want my Death Touch out. And I can play this as an instant before he attacks. Let's see what he does. Because if he can give it trample, I can tap him out. I can keep my things from dying. I have a couple options. When he enters, create a mutagen token. If one or more counters would be put on that, put +1. Nice. You can sacrifice it for 2, which is pretty nice. On the reach. As a 3/5. Death Touch. So that's getting definitely a little wider than I might be able to manage. I don't know, at this point I'm even questioning just having passed. I could have attacked with my Tunnel Rats. I'm assuming he's looking to push. I was wondering, I don't necessarily have a lot to deal with, like the Michelangelo weirdness to 11. Questioning what he's up to. That would have been my option to tap one of them out if I wanted. Attack or block, sacrifice a permanent. Interesting, he sacrificed a land. Whenever he enters or attacks another creature you control gains Death Touch. So, I'm not going to kick her this, but I can kill his Donatello. At a certain point, I just have to keep trading the big ones for my little reusable one. But I'm very quickly going to get out of... When it enters, gain 2 life. I probably should have... At this point, playing him with Menace isn't a bad option. The one thing about, I guess keeping my flying disappear at the beginning of your end step, under your control this turn, create a 1/1 black insect token. That's what he was waiting for, was actually me to kill it. Because now he has the flyers. None of these are artifacts. Six, 2. Take action. That basically takes all my mana. If I can... One more negate's not going to do it. Because he's going to be pushing with his flyers. Because at this point, if he pushes, there's nothing I can actually do for protection because I'm tapped out. And at a certain point, this, I think, basically turned to his game. Just wondering, I can get a little more card draw with the Sewer Surveillance Hub. That's interesting. It's perpetual. Sacrifice a token and draw a card. Assuming he's going to declare a blocker. I probably should played Splinter, or I can't because it is legendary. One blocker. So he snuck it in as a 4/4 first strike. And that is game. And he gets his flyer out, which gets another token. At this point, I'm not even going to try and play it out. And as far as like, yeah, I don't know. I do want to get my win in, and I don't want to necessarily spend a bunch of time doing magic. So, just moving right on. And I needed to, I think, cast creatures. At this point, I was more looking for the 250 coins from getting a win in. Not unhappy. A little bit of control, a little bit of card draw, a little bit of token generation, and yeah, it's basically the whole mechanic. Oh. I'm not sure I've ever actually seen that one. He's running her pet. He's mana ramping. Oh, and I do actually like they had that one on sale the other day, or probably the other month. Elementals. A helpful harvest. Enters, and when you sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land card. This probably isn't gonna... And when you sacrifice it, gets life. He's gonna definitely, I think, out mana ramp me here. A second helpful harvest. I'm not sure what he's up to, but I don't think this is necessarily going to bode well for me. If I want to do the Spirited Simulacrum, Elspeth, I mean, not a bad pull. I'm very curious what he's up to. The Fuel Tank Feaster. So, perpetual card draw. Get my planes down. I was wondering about getting his enchantment off the board. And I doubt he's going to name a... Very nice. He still has a huge amount of mana. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. He can already cast from like the Book of 9, or there's an achievement for any of those cards. But he went hunting for an elf. And he could still do it again. And it's not an elf, an elemental. So I'm not sure what elementals he's pulling. At 7... I think that might be at 6, 12, 18. He has to name blockers. Another Llanowar Elf. Once again, though, not terribly concerned. It's gonna do Elspeth. Soldiers, please. I'm assuming he has more control. Rather than play the spell's mana cost, if there are 13 or more creatures on the battlefield, each player sacrifices 13 of their choice. I'll sacrifice a token. No worries there. If I play Orinobu, I can minus off 3 of hers to kill his. And I can still do something like the Cat Collector. That's not going to leave me enough mana to do Duty Beyond Death, because at this point I'm assuming he has more I'm gonna copy the one. And I have the duty beyond death to protect it if need be. The Quarry Steel Cutter. So he can, now when he casts another spell, he gets to create a 1/1 monk, the Roddenmouth Viper. But with that, I got my one win. I was questioning, did I want to do one more? I'm not even sure I could game them. But yeah, got my one win in, even though I bust out of the draft. I didn't have high hopes for it after having done the first round. It just didn't quite have enough oomph to... But like, you have a 5/7, even though I have a death touch, I'm now reliant on just being able to bring it back. I don't know. Either way, I'm glad to be done with the draft and have got my win in for the day, and look forward to doing some Magic in the future.